Retreat Series, Dhamma Talk number 54. In the last Dhamma Talk we were discussing about feeling, Vedana, and clear comprehension, Sampajanya. Today, let's see, we are going to take this Vedana and Sampajanya, feeling and clear comprehension. Let's take a field trip, which means the practical aspect of it. And discuss or see how it is in your real meditation sitting. Of course, Vedana, feeling, we know there are three types: pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. And these feelings can come from physical source, which is your body, and mental source, which is your mind. But whatever it is, when it turns into the pleasant, unpleasant, and feeling stage, it is mental. It is the mind that knows it, the mind that experiences it, the mind that feels it. And in the feelings, as there are three, pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral, in a Satipatthana Vipassana, first of all, we take into the unpleasant feeling. Most of the people who practice are beginners who had no meditation experience or very little experience. And a few have quite a bit of samatha meditation experiences already. But if you are practicing pure Vipassana, first and foremost, we go right into unpleasant feeling, because that's what most of the yogis are. They are not used to sitting in a meditation posture for a longer period of time. They began to experience discomfort, unpleasant feeling, or pain. That's why we said it takes you into unpleasant feeling, pain. In Pali it is called dukkha, dukkha. Okay. Suffering that is very obvious and known by all. Dukkha, dukkha. Everybody knows this is suffering. This is unpleasant. Dukkha, dukkha. Pain. Okay. So when you hear the word pain, know that it is an unpleasant feeling. Know that it is a dukkha, dukkha. Or simply dukkha, suffering. And such we should understand. And in people too, when you are meditating, all different types. Some people, they start meditating and within 5 or 10 minutes they just feeling that, let's call one word, pain. Pain. And the rest of the 55 minutes they will be in pain. But some people, for about half an hour it's okay, and then the remaining half an hour, some about 45 minutes, no unpleasant sensation, and then pain. It varies. Some people, they will be sitting for the whole hour and there's no pain. But regardless, this pain is very important for the pure Vipassana yogis, meditator, because this can cut through a lot of things and bring you into the understanding of the Dhamma in its true nature, very quick and very sharp. But it is not that easy because we all are conditioned, okay, to have repulsion or dislike towards unpleasant feeling or pain. So when you are facing this pain, okay, unpleasant feeling, you need some supporting tools. And those tools are patience and tolerance. You have to use these two mental states or two supporting tools along with you to face or to observe these painful sensations. So you sit down and you meditate, and of course there's a obvious discomfort start with as back pain or neck pain or knee pains. Okay. And this part of the body, that part of the body, there's obvious. And you observe them, and the more you observe, the more you focus on them squarely, it becomes more and more painful. That's why you need patience and tolerance. And at one point, it'll become unbearable. Okay. You're in meditation, unbearable. Sometimes the whole body becomes really hot, and sometimes really cold, hot and cold. More like hot flushes, cold flushes. Quite unpleasant. And sometimes you feel sticky. Maybe your fingers, your toes, your body, somewhere stickiness. And sometimes it is sweaty. Some will be sweating like in buckets. Especially for people who are from the temperate countries, goes to tropical countries such countries like Burma, Thailand, Sri Lanka, they meditate. Over there it is quite hot, or you say quite warm properly. And then humid, so you sweat like in buckets. These kind of things experience. Evidently, you are observing the unpleasant sensations, and slowly these more and more unpleasant things start happening to you. And then suddenly you want to quit because so much. I can't concentrate. Okay. I can't balance. And these kind of situations come like in a row, like onslaught, attacking you all the time. Let's say within 10 minutes it starts coming, and slowly they increase intensity, increase an onslaught coming in. What it is basically you are experiencing dukkha directly. There's no concept, no nothing, no words. You are experiencing directly. And if you don't have patience and tolerance, you can't take these. So you really have to work together with patience and tolerance to want these pains, with the objective of I am going to understand what they really are. That's it. It is not that you're fighting with them or conquering them. It is simply, I'm going to face it directly so that I would understand what they really are as it is. That's the attitude of mind. So let's say you don't have patience and tolerance much. If you don't have, what happens is you start going into the blame game. Okay, I will use very modern words. so that we can click quite easily. In yourself, you go into the blame game. Of course, you don't blame yourself, you blame many other things. Maybe, oh, the climate, this is hot and humid. I shouldn't have come here. Or it is the environment, all these people. Okay, you haven't been much travel. All these different custom, different tradition, different looking people, different kind of food, all these things. Maybe they are just all these environment, you just starting to look into it. Just because of that pain, you just blame this, you just blame that. Or maybe, I'm not sure, maybe this is not the right method, this is the wrong method. Here, I came here to experience peace and happiness. And all that I'm doing was this just onslaught of pain and discomfort and unpleasant feeling. Weird kind of food, stomach unsettled. All these things started to play in the mind. It's a blame game. You're blaming everything, any conditions, any environmental conditions around you. And maybe you might think, oh, no, this method, or this is not for me. And starting to, I wish I'm a little bit calmer, most peaceful, a little bit happiness would be fantastic, great. That kind of things go on in your mind because as you don't have patience and tolerance, that's how the mind's starting to play in this direct experience from the pain. When you are doing that, what is really happening? What really happening is you forgot all the instructions given by the teacher, what to do, how to do. You totally forgot. Why is that? Because you are in the battlefield. You believe you are in the battlefield. Just to understand it, a soldier in the battlefield. The enemies are spraying with bullets everywhere. You are behind a concrete wall, crawling up, totally under pressure. Intense. At that moment, there's nothing you can think of any other thing except that. Just to escape from that battlefield or not to get hit. That is how you are feeling at that moment. And some people might think, oh no, I'm very good. I have a great tolerance for pain. I could have taken, I took it. I don't know why. This time it's something wrong. Maybe it is the meditation that is bringing me something different. I can't take it now. I don't know why. The mind's starting to waver. It's jittering happen. Also jittery. The body's moving, the body's shaking and adjusting. And desperately trying to find peace, trying to calm yourself down, trying to relax. That's all those things happening when you try to calm yourself down, when you try to purposely try to escape from that pain. You are exercising control. You are not observing. And then even you think to the point of, oh, I think I should better pack my bag and leave. No good, not useful. And if you are thinking, if you are behaving like that, you have missed a great opportunity. And the key point is, you do not have patience and tolerance as a tool to face that unpleasant feeling, dukkha vedana. But if you are persistent in facing that pain with patience and tolerance, you'll be surprised what happened, but you have to be really persistence, and determined to face that. If you can do that, suddenly you will find, I'll jump near to the end, the separation of pain and knowing. Before, it is I am in pain. And suddenly you begin to experience the separation of pain and knowing. What is the separation of pain and knowing? Suddenly you are experiencing the pain in one way. It doesn't feel like that pain is with you. Pain is not with you at all. That's a separation of pain and knowing. And if you feel that, that means you are overcoming or starting to overcome the unpleasant feeling of pain. Sometimes you are observing the pain with great endurance, and then suddenly it disappears into the thin air, and it's instantly replaced by peace. Sometimes you feel that way. And basically, pain, you know there's a pain, but that pain doesn't have any location, not in the knee, not in the hip, can't identify the location, simply pain. And there's another thing, something different pops up, knowing. There's a knowing phenomenon which knows the pain. In other words, pain is an object. That phenomenon, knowing phenomenon, knowing is a knowing phenomenon. Two things. That's a separation of pain and knowing. At that moment, you don't have any sense of I. Okay? You don't look at the object as I. You don't look at the knowing as I. Simply just this object and knowing. The way it is basically there's one object phenomenon is in operation, and there's knowing phenomenon is in operation. On their own, they are not connected. Object phenomenon, which is the pain. Knowing phenomenon is simply knowing of the pain. Two phenomena are in operation. At that moment, what is really happening is you. Okay. Conventionally, we have to say something, you, me, I. You do not have any identification of I or self. There is no I, there is no self, no identification. When one is experiencing the two phenomena in operation in your meditation, that's what happened. And when you are experiencing like that, your patience and tolerance is in a very powerful state. In Pali, it's called Bala Kanti. Bala is strong or strength. Kanti is patience. Your patience is very strong. You have developed it. It does not automatically happen. At that moment, your patience and perseverance is very strong. And there's a pain. The pain doesn't go away. There's pain. But at the same time, your mind is very calm and stable. It is not shaken by the pain. Your mind is calm and stable. In other words, your fear of pain is gone. The pain can go to any level, but you have no fear. You're watching the pain. If there's no fear, there's nothing would happen to you. Nothing could face you to be shaken. and you're watching very boldly and very calmly. It's interesting. Totally, that is what you are experiencing in the meditation. And all these things, these various states of various little conditions and situations that we have just described, that is called you are understanding, or you have a clear comprehension of the unpleasant feeling in many different ways. This way, that way, no fear, calm, stable, split between object and mind. That's called clear comprehension, sampajanya. And why do you have these clear comprehension about the pain? The reason, the cause, is concentration. You have built up the concentration to the, again, a large samadhi. Mental concentration is reached to the state of very strong bala. That's the reason. That's why you have this clear comprehension, understanding the pain in its true nature. And why do you have this strong concentration? It is because you are noting, you are noting very constantly and firmly. In other words, you are observing very strongly, constant and firm. In one word, you have established the sati mindfulness. Concentration is there because due to mindfulness. And why is the mindfulness there, strong mindfulness there? The strong mindfulness is there because you have applied, you have exerted a lot of energy in aiming at the object and sticking with the object from the beginning to the end. That's the reason. Cause and effect, cause and effect. Sampajanya is the effect. Concentration is the cause. Concentration is the effect. Mindfulness is the cause. Mindfulness is the effect. Proper, correct observation is the cause. They are all linked. They are not coming out of anywhere, nowhere. Cause and effect, cause and effect. So, all these things we are mentioning is, we can call it, that's what we call by unique experience, special experience, extraordinary experience. That's other one. Okay. I commonly use the word special effects. You have many special effects in your meditation, all these experiences which you do not think, which you do not have any idea about it, come to be in the meditation experience. And also this causal relationship, cause and effect, and many unique effects or special effects. You know, but the way you know is you intuitively know. You don't think and know. You don't reflect and know. You know, analyze and know. You instantly, intuitively, directly know all these things that we just described. That kind of knowing. At that moment, pain never bothers you. It doesn't bother you. In other words, you say you are victorious over the unpleasant sensation or pain. And why do you have that? Because you are practicing contemplation of feeling. Contemplation of feeling. Vedana Vipassana. And in this feeling, we specifically narrow down to the unpleasant feeling. That's why we are discussing with the unpleasant feeling. So, Vedana Vipassana, that's what you're practicing. or in English, contemplation of unpleasant feeling. So during this observation, what do? You are observing the feeling, specifically unpleasant feeling, pain. Is that all that is what you are doing? That's a question. Let's see whether that is right or wrong, or complete or incomplete. Okay, you're observing the pain. During the pain, let's say you are with pain for 45 minutes, 50 minutes. During that pain, you're observing the pain. Suddenly, you feel a heat wave or hot flashes come in. What is that? Heat wave, hot flashes. In scriptural term, it's the fire element. And also you can be aware of all the sweats that is coming down. And bodies feel wet. Some people, actually the whole shirts will be soaking wet. That much pain. These sweats and the wetness. What is this that you are observing and knowing? That's the water element. And then there's you're sitting, and there's your hip pressing against the floor. At first it's hard, and become harder and harder and harder. And at one point, you felt like you were sitting on a golf ball. That kind of pain. The hardness become harder and harder. It become like a big golf ball. Okay? And in here, what is the big golf ball? That is the earth element. Manifestation of the earth element. And sometimes you feel stiffness. Stiffness, not just ordinary stiffness that you feel most of the time. It is more like a big rod inside your body. Maybe under your ribs, maybe from back to the front, like solid cylinder shape, stiffness rod going in your stomach. And sometimes it is more like a knotted, something is knotted inside like a ball. Sometimes it is unpleasant vibration. These are the ones that you experience in your meditation while you're observing pains. What are these things? This stiffness, tightness, vibration, they are wind element. So you're observing Vedana, contemplation of the feeling. But here, what are they? These are four major elements of rupa form. But you are observing Vedana, and here you are encountering directly with rupa. At those moments, you are observing rupa. You are doing contemplation of the matter, rupa form. But in your mind you are observing Vedana-nupassana. But in reality, you are facing all the rupa of this mind and matter. And sometimes you're observing, and after with the pain for about 30 minutes, 40 minutes, you begin to feel weak. You feel like you're being beat up, withered, weary feeling, and exhausted, tired. What are these things? Withered, weary, exhausted, tired. Those are unpleasant feeling, mind, mental source. Unpleasant feeling from mental source, manifesting. That is Vedana-nupassana. Source is the mind. Weak, weary, withered. And Also, while you are experiencing pain, sometimes like so painful you want to move your body, you want to shift, you want to move, you want to shift, you want to adjust, because that might reduce the feeling of pain. Sometimes you feel like surrendering it. What is that? Wanting to move, wanting to shift, wanting to adjust. What is that? That is the mind. Wanting to move is the mind, wanting to adjust is the mind. Citta. So at that moment, wanting to move, and if you are fully aware, fully mindful of wanting to move, you will be observing, wanting to move, wanting to move. And if you are strong, that desire of wanting to move just dissolves. If you are not strong, of course, you follow up with the movement. It's the mind. In other words, you are at that moment practicing Citta Nupassana. So if you look at it, even though you think you are doing Vedana Nupassana, all these things are manifesting and operating. And you're meditating, and suddenly you heard sound. Sound comes from you. A big sigh. Or maybe a long breath. Or sound made from the pain. Actually, the voice come out. You are such in pain, but you are facing it regardless. This is what happened. And sometimes you see an array of colors, dizzying colors. And at that time, what do you do if you are really practicing? Seeing, seeing, hearing, hearing. That's what you are doing, or must be doing correctly if you are doing correctly. And what is that? That is Dhamma Nupassana. So, know that. In our mind we think we are observing the pains, we are doing Vedana Nupassana. But now, each and every little thing, we dissect it down into your direct experience. There's a Vedana, feeling. There's Rupa, matter. There is Citta, mind. There is Dhamma, the five senses. All four foundations of mindfulness are right there, and you are operating, you are observing all four. But in your mind you believe you are practicing Vedana Nupassana only. That's what you believe. Some people call it, oh, I am a Vedana Nupassana specialist. I only observe Vedana and I got enlightened. I got insight. No, I only observe the body. I'm the body specialist. I got enlightened. No, because they do not have the enough comprehension as the Buddha has taught us. That's why we start saying things like that. Building up wall, building up boundaries, and trying to identify yourself this way, that way. I am right, you're wrong. My method is right, your method is wrong. But at the same time, you don't have to understand everything like that in detail at all. You simply experience, have insight and enlighten without knowing anything. Of course, those people cannot communicate or explain or teach other people. But they know, they experience, they understand, but they cannot. But some people who they have a different kind of parami, and they know like in details like that. Just to use the quote, the Buddha's time, Satipatthana, he is bar none in terms of pinya, wisdom. He knows everything like that, the way he can re-communicate and teach. And some arahat, they experience everything, but they cannot understand in this kind of nitty-gritty detail and teach back. That's a difference. So don't think you have to know everything like this and able to communicate to be enlightened. Without being able to communicate, without being able to split down, but still you can be enlightened. So keep that in mind. But in here, we are trying to explain and show a breakdown from the direct field trip in your meditation practice. This is not from the book. This is what you are experiencing, or what you will be experiencing in one form or the other, or maybe even different. But regardless, it passed the same message. It gives you the same understanding. So in here, when you are doing a sitting meditation, even though you might believe you are doing mindfulness of the feeling, actually you are practicing everything, all full foundation. As long as if you are observing precisely and correctly with ardent effort, these will arise. No if or but, it will arise. So, what do we have at? What is happening? Whenever you do, if you are doing observing correctly, sampajanya, clear comprehension of the object that you are observing will arise. And if it happens a lot, repeatedly, high frequency, eventually there's another thing you are already experiencing but you do not know what it is when you are observing this pain, unpleasant feeling. You have been experiencing from the first step throughout. What it is, you are actually experiencing the first noble truth. Remember Four Noble Truths? The first one is the noble truth of suffering, dukkha. That's what you are experiencing. You are experiencing the first noble truth firsthand. And what did Buddha say about this first noble truth? One must thoroughly understand. That's what one needs to do. One must thoroughly understand. And once you have this, all these things that we have described, you can know that you now have the capacity to overwhelm unpleasant feeling or pain. You have the power or the capacity to overwhelm it. That doesn't mean that whenever the pain arises, you are on an upper hand. No. It doesn't come automatically like that. What it is, you have to observe precisely, correctly, and develop the mental states of effort, mindfulness, concentration, and insight. And then sampajanya comes in, and at that moment it comes the ability to see the pain as it is, which doesn't bother you, which doesn't torture you. You have to build a condition to be able to reach that. So don't think that once you got it, I got it forever. Of course, there's a stage. You have to become a noble person, and it become a different matter. As long as you are puthujjana, no, it is not. But at least you know you have the capacity or ability to overwhelm the dukkha, unpleasant feeling and sensations. Now, we are focusing on the unpleasant sensation because this is, we like to understand the first noble truth, what dukkha really means and experientially. But when you overcome that and when you keep on practicing, your samadhi concentration becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. And stronger to the point of these unpleasant sensations, poof, just gone, it disappeared. Instantly in that unpleasant sensation place, it replaced by the pleasant sensation. Pleasant sensation replaced it. Again, what? Concentration has to be strong enough. The pleasant sensation arises in its place. And when these pleasant sensations arise, what do? Same thing. We note, we observe. We note, we observe. Every pleasant sensation, every comfortable feelings, you observe and note. If you don't note, if you don't observe that pleasant feeling, joyful feeling, nice feeling, great feeling, if you don't observe it, in Pali what it's called piti and sukha, rapture and bliss. If you don't note it, what will happen? You want those feeling more and more. I want more, it is great. Sometimes you know you are not supposed to, one side of the mind, and the next side of the mind or the next step of the mind say, no, I deserve it, I've suffered too long. And you stay there. It happens to many yogis. And wanting more is raga, or lust. Or you can call it simply lobha, greed. Raga, lobha. And that is one. You want more. And suddenly, another mind slip in. What if it's gone? You become fearful of losing that pleasant feeling. Worry starting to set in, anxiety starting to set in. Because you're afraid that you might lose it. And what is that? Worry, anxiety, dosa, raga and dosa. Why? Because you are not noting and observing. So, if you do not have this sati and samadhi, correct noting, mindfulness and concentration, what happens is, you still know, even if you don't have it, you still know the pleasant feeling, sukha vedana, pleasant feeling, you still know it. But that knowing is simply ordinary awareness that we all are aware all the time of good feeling and bad feeling. Without sati samadhi, your awareness of the feeling, pleasant feeling, is just simply ordinary awareness of the feeling. That's what happened. That's why we need to apply great exertion. Back again to what? Aiming the object that is arising and sticking with it as long as it lasts, and the next object, nothing else, just all the time, same thing. You have to observe. If you don't do that, that craving, wanting for that pleasant feeling will take over. Simply cause and effect. They are all cause and effect. And you set up different set of conditions. Under a different set of conditions, something happens. So, in other words, whenever a citta or a consciousness arises, let's do it this way. It's a different approach or different presentation. Whenever a consciousness or citta arises, there's a feeling. One of the three, pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. That is fact. That is the natural law. Whenever a consciousness arises, there are one of the three feelings always there. Okay, let's make it a little bit more detailed so that we can understand even a little deeper about this consciousness and feeling. Okay. And here, to know that you need to understand the meaning of the word phassa. Phassa means mental contact. And what is this phassa, mental contact, means? It's nothing strange. Just look at yourself every day. Whatever is happening. Whatever is happening is you're awake. When you're awake during the day, your eyes are open. When your eyes are open, you come across an object. Or you come across many objects. Tables, chairs, spoon, people, dogs, cats, paintings, all these things. You have an eye, you have objects, but whichever objects that you are interested. In other words, you give attention to that object. Whichever one you are interested, you give attention to that object. At that moment, phassa, mental contact, arises. So what does it need? It needs an external object. Okay. Whatever that may be, a painting. Internal object, that's the eye, eyeballs, or a retina. They have to be in a straight line. And then there's the attention. Must give attention. If you don't give attention, you won't. So there's one is the external object, one is the internal object, another one is a program called attention. A program called attention. If those three come together, at that moment we have a mental contact, phassa. That is happening all the time throughout the day, whether with the eyes or ears or nose or seeing or hearing or smelling or tasting or touching. All the time it's happening. We just slip by it, we are not aware of it. But now, throughout that time, that mental contact is happening all the time. Mental contact, mental contact, mental contact, whenever you are changing from one object to the other. Phassa. And as soon as that phassa arises, contact, suddenly a feeling arises. You look at the painting, oh, beautiful, what a scenery, what gorgeous, pleasant feeling. And then let's say you are looking at a certain painting that you don't understand at all because so abstract. Oh, yeah, what is it? Who pays 1 million for this painting? Terrible. Unpleasant feeling. See? Pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling arises whenever there is a mental contact. So first of all is the phassa, mental contact. Due to the phassa is a condition. What happened? Vedana, feeling arises. Based on the nature of the object. Okay. Pleasant, beautiful, lovely object produces pleasant feeling. Ugly, repulsive object produces unpleasant feeling. Okay. So in our normal life, everyday life, run-of-the-mill life, whenever there's a contact, there will be a feeling. And suddenly, because of that feeling, there will be a craving for that object will arise. Grasping for that object will arise. And if it is so strong, you become obsessive with that object. That's why some people stalk some other people, because they are obsessive. That will in a normal, daily, run-of-the-mill situation, that's automatically happen. Phassa, Vichaya, Vedana. Due to mental contact, feeling arises. Vedana, Vichaya, Tanha. Due to feelings, craving arises. Tanha, Vichaya, Upadana. Because of the craving, all the grasping and clinging and attachment arises. That is the natural law of the mind. Natural law of the mind. It's automatic. Once you set it on it, that will exactly happen. No if or but. Natural law. So in here, if you don't observe, if you keep it on a normal run-of-the-mill day, that is the process, the mind will work. But if not, if you observe that feeling, if you observe with great exertion, energy, correctly and precisely, that feeling when it is arising, if you observe it, craving cannot arise. Instead, whenever you observe correctly and precisely with power, what does arise? We have said that many times before. When you apply that kind of exertion, sati, mindfulness arises, and because of the sati, concentration, samadhi arises, and then because of that, insight, understanding of the object in its true nature arises. That's also automatic, but you have to change the track, change the channel. One channel is run-of-the-mill channel, everyday channel. Another channel is special channel. That's called as full foundation channel. If you turn into that channel, this will arise. If you go to the another channel, that will arise. Change the track. You will have a different result. So, if you do that, if you apply that, before, what did we say? According to the Paticca dependent origination. Vedana, Vichaya, Tanha. Simply put, because of the feeling, craving arises. But if you put correct observation, if you put anupassana, contemplation, that formula change. Vedana, Vichaya, Tanha change to Vedana, Vichaya, Pinya, due to the feelings, insight and wisdom arises. To do that, you have to change the track, full foundation track. The formula change. You can change the formula. It is in your hand. So, in that way, you know a little bit deeper understanding about what. Okay. Whenever a consciousness arises, feeling arises. It explained clearly in the dependent origination. That's only a part of it, of that sutra. So that gives you a better understanding on pleasant feeling. Pleasant feeling can be changed track. By changing track, Tanha, craving doesn't arises, and Pinya, wisdom arises. That's how you overcome pleasant feeling. The first time we know how to overcome unpleasant feeling. Now we know how to overcome pleasant feeling. Now there's one more feeling. One more feeling is what? Neutral feeling. What is neutral feeling? Okay, we had explained in an ordinary way before, using the analogy on a walking. But here, let's say this neutral feeling in a, let's say in a meditation set, you experience neutral feeling in a higher level of insight already there. At that moment, how you see is you see things or you know things. One object after the other arise and pass away, arise and pass away, arise and pass away. But that's the use of arise and pass away. But actually, you see them like in a row. This come, this come, this come, this come, this come, that come, that come, that come, that come. All these objects are like a flow in your meditation, like a flow, like a stream going on, just passing by. Just like you're watching by the river, the water flows away. Now you watch, oh, that's it. Until and unless you think deeply about it, all the physics and chemistry and everything about the water and the dynamics, motion, then you know deeper. But ordinarily it's just flow by. Just like that. All the objects just flow by like a stream. But you are aware of that flow. That's a neutral feeling. But it doesn't make you anything. It doesn't move you. You just simply watch and know. And at that time, the yogi is, oh, okay. But if you really look at it, it doesn't disturb you. And you're still watching it. That means you like it. The yogis like it, that continuous flow of objects. If the yogi likes it, that continuous flow of objects, you don't feel pleasant, you don't feel unpleasant, but you like it. What does it mean? It means the yogis still have a very subtle form of craving, or very refined dana. Refined craving is still there with the yogi. That's what is happening. Haven't escaped from this craving dana yet, even though you think that is just happening by itself, doesn't disturb you. But still there, refined form of craving is with you. And at that moment, what do we need to do? Same old thing. You have to observe correctly and precisely. You apply a lot of energy watching it. You don't just watch and let it go by. You watch it intently, that what is going by. You watch it in such a way you begin to see that flow, like frame by frame. Each frame you see sharply, and each frame you see it clearly. This object, you see one frame. That object, you see one frame. That object, you see another frame. Before, those frames are like continuous, like a movie rolling, pictures going on. But in reality, that's a frame by frame shots. Just like that. Which means you apply exertion, observe with precision and correctly to the objects that is flowing by, to see the cessation of each and every object. That's what you need to do. Only then you overcome. If you see objects cessation, not just simply flow, then you have overcome the neutral feeling. That's only at the higher insight stages you will face that. So let's see, whenever unpleasant feeling arises, what do you want to do? You want to replace with a pleasant feeling. Whenever pleasant feeling arises, what do you want to do? You want a better, more pleasant feeling. That's what you want. And then, whenever upekkha, neutral feeling arises, you simply watch with indifference. Unpleasant, you want to replace with pleasant. Pleasant, you want even better one. Neutral, you just watch with indifference. And if you do that, Dhamma, craving, will keep on producing. It will keep on producing. But if you don't, if you contemplate on the feeling, okay, till you attain the clear comprehension on every object, if you do that, what happens? Instead of craving, okay, or grasping, it changes. Even though you are seeing the pleasant object, you don't have craving or attachment. Even though you are seeing the unpleasant object, you don't feel anger, aversion. And even though you are experiencing the neutral object, or neutral feeling, you do not have the false equanimity. Indifference is the false equanimity, but you believe you have already achieved or attained equanimity. Very subtle. You believe that indifference attitude is equanimity. No, it is not. You have a false equanimity. What you really have is, if you know them, these neutral feelings, seeing them sharply with cessation, then you got it. So whenever there's a strong grasping or clinging, whenever you are attached to the wrong view of atta, self, and whenever you are experiencing all sort of kilesa, okay, all sort of kilesa, they will keep on arising craving if you don't practice the correct observation, precise observation. And if that is keep on going, kilesa arising, attached to the wrong views of atta, grasping and clinging, you will be roaming in the circle of samsara, endless rounds of birth and death and birth and death. There you will be. But if you observe the 5 aggregates with full foundation of mindfulness, you can stop that cycle of birth and death. If you observe one correct observation, you stop one becoming, one birth. If you can stop, observe all objects or all conditions that are arising at the moments, at every present moment, if you can observe them, you stop all becomings. One observation, you stop one becoming. All observations, all conditions of every present moment, you stop all becomings. So what is this 5 aggregates? You know, 5 aggregates is exactly as mind and matter in more detail. What is mind and matter? Dhamma and Rupa. It is self, you, me, ourself. And also people also call this self as a soul. Some people put. So if you look at it as a 5 aggregates, you know how the whole system works, how the whole programming works, how different track produce different result. It is a definite set of rules and laws that is operating. It's a process, it's a phenomenon. Because we have discussed it about an hour. I think you can see it clearly by now. So, what is a self? What is a soul? It is simply a process. It's simply a phenomenon. That's why Buddha said there is no such thing as atta, a self or a soul. There's no atta, but anatta, non-self, no soul. Buddha's words. So may all of you be able to practice 4 groups of contemplation, and may you be able to understand the nature of the mind and matter is simply a process, nothing to hold on, no core inside it, as soon as possible. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much.